Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here, and I want to do a solo guide for the Legendary Lost Sector Skydock 4. I know we're going to be switching over to a new bunker going live next week, but I'm sure these will still be in rotation, so if you guys need to do this one, this is here for you. So, a couple things about it. We're going to be facing Cabal the whole time, so that will kind of change up our champions. We've now got Unstoppable and Barrier that we're going to be facing. As you guys can see, I've got a hand cannon pretty much stocked up and ready for the Unstoppable. And then, of course, we've got the sidearm or submachine gun option for anti-barrier. It's really up to you guys. Now, previously, I had used a sword because in other Lost Sectors, there's captains. So it's kind of nice to just kick the crap out of those with a sword. The champions that we've got here, you could use a sword. If you stagger them, it's actually still probably fairly effective. Just trying to run it a little different here with a grenade launcher, just to give you guys a little different perspective. Swords are really powerful now though, and honestly, as I've been going through this one, trying to dump some damage with a grenade launcher, sword would still probably be pretty good. So if you got one, and you can stagger the Unstoppables especially, get in there, do some damage, get out, stagger them again, if you're able to kind of do that, it's actually going to be pretty reasonable, I would think. I am running a little bit underleveled as well. My biggest advice when you're doing any Legendary Lost Sector is to be as high as possible. I know that makes sense, but they're 1,000 power level. I'm 15 power level below, and I can feel like the slowness that I need to take this mission. When I was running this earlier at about 1,000 power level, just the first time to clear it out, it makes it a lot easier. So the higher power level you get, and if you're trying to solo these and having some struggles with them, one big piece of advice, go work on that powerful gear. You don't have to do all the pinnacles and stuff, but that powerful gear is really going to help you make any solo stuff definitely a lot more manageable. But again, Unstoppable, pretty much on hand cannons of your choice. And then some type of anti-barrier. You've got one Colossus that you do have to deal with at one point in the middle. Big thing I will say about this one is the fact that you are going to want to make sure that you can use the heavy frame and also the Valkyrie. Those are actually quite beneficial. Now, if you haven't upgraded those yet, make sure you do so. The heavy frame does a lot of work, especially when he explodes. He's taking out some of the guys completely on his own. If you upgrade him, he's like completely beast mode. And then the Valkyrie is actually pretty powerful as well. And then as you level up the bunker, you've got the heavy frames, they have a faster rate of fire, the Valkyrie is a super Valkyrie, and then the cooldown on the heavy frame is even like 30 seconds instead of like 45. So you can put in a lot of work by just having those guys work for you, so don't skimp on those. They are really, really beneficial in upgrades the more you run those. But Skydock 4, Legendary Lost Sector, let's jump into this thing, I'll show you what we got. Alright, so when we start this Legendary Lost Sector, you've got 3 enemies up top. 2 of them aren't a big deal, but one of them is going to be that Unstoppable Incendior. So if you can take these guys out first, it actually is what I would advise, is if you can take out these Legionaries first, before this guy especially gets too much up on you. Really trying to stagger him is key. Now, trying to get some distance from him is important as well, so just keep that in mind. If he does try and bash you a little bit, it gets to be a bit rough. But again, if you can stagger him and then actually get out of line of sight, he typically won't actually charge at you. If you're out of line of sight when he wakes up, usually what I'll do is peek around the corner, make sure I'm charged, put a shot in, try and do something basic here. I'm trying to save my heavy ammo for later, and then get out of line of sight. And again, if you're worried about dying, you could go in there with a sword, and so I was honestly thinking a sword would still be pretty damn good. And he fell down. Now, if he falls down, that is actually a bit of a problem. Mainly because he's really hard to see. Now down here, I guess I'll be working him from this angle. Not really going to kill me down there, which is good, but he's also just going to be really annoying. Grenades are going to be a nice benefit, so you can get some damage on him that way. Wait for his little glow on his back to go away, and you can stagger him again. Now, sometimes he falls, sometimes he stays up top. I've had him happen either way, but honestly, he's not too shabby down here. He's not too bad up top. Again, the line of sighting seemed to actually help quite a bit on him, though. So if you get to a point where you are kind of running back and forth between that opening doorway, and it helps you out, that's actually worked pretty well for me. So definitely give that a consideration if you're having any struggles with this one. Avoid his flamethrower. It is quite painful. And again, now's a good time why grenade launcher is actually a good thing to have. Not always, but sometimes it is. Alright, so when he goes down, top floor is cleared. I would drop just to this first ledge first. and you're looking for a couple scions that you should be able to get a little sight on. And if you fall down where I just did, you're going to be seeing the barrier pretty quick. The barrier Colossus is going to be coming fast. If he doesn't kill me by the time I come down here, I'll be surprised. Alright, so the barrier is going to be your main issue, but the nice thing is you've got a heavy frame sitting right here that you can actually get some pretty quick access to. So that's what you're actually going to want to try and take advantage of as much as possible. So if you can get down here and activate this heavy frame and then hide, even if you die, guess what? It's not a big deal. Heavy frame's still going to go put some work in, take out some of those other enemies, and then the barrier guy, typically what I try and do is get down there to where I can activate the barrier, activate the heavy frame and help with the barrier guy, because the barrier guy, his shield is up. Now he's going to explode and basically take the guy out, which is crazy. That's the nice thing about the frame, is he can drop those champions in like one explosion. As long as they're not shielded, they can die. Now the barrier, I typically like to do it a little bit of a different way. Got some dogs coming. Be careful. Something fast firing is still beneficial for these. Now, just to give you guys an example, what I would typically do is try and have the barrier start firing, kind of be positioned, activate the frame, and then as soon as the heavy frame starts actually firing and his shield goes up, I would actually pop the barrier shield, and the heavy frame would actually finish him off completely without the explosion. But at this point, we're going on to the next section. Around here, we do have an unstoppable champion, so we're going to try and put a little work in on him. The AI on the elite heavy frame is not the best. Now, staggering that champion, always a good thing. If I can keep him in control, it tends to be the best. So if he's unstoppable, I want these two to kind of meet in the middle if I can get that to happen. There you go. If you can get him running, that's what you want. And then if you can get him to show up, light him up for a second, stagger him, and your heavy frame will pretty much take care of the rest. This is why the heavy frames are freaking awesome. Now, you might have a couple scions left over up here. I feel apparently they're dead. Now, before you cross that next doorway, you won't be able to pick up this Valkyrie. You won't be able to retreat back, so you may as well take this with you and get a few kills. As you come up around the corner, you're going to be facing just kind of the final room. Use this as a time to kill any of these enemies over here off to the sides. Put a little work in on the champion, the Incendor. Not as much is really going to get done there, though. And this is where it's a slow, patient game. Wait for this guy to come and put some work in on his back. Hide around the corner. Make sure you got your unstoppable shot up. And again, little by little, this is pretty much how I would actually take the unstoppables down, even down below. That first opening shot, if they see you, they will come. But if they lose that line of sight, you know, you're actually probably going to be okay for a minute. So again, line of sighting these guys is actually going to help you quite a bit. Then try to stay with him so he doesn't pull too far back there. Hang back around the corner once again. Reload, see if he's pushing up or pulling back. He might be going down the ramp for all we know at this point. Hand cannon's not the most effective at range in PvE anymore, but, you know, do what you can. I've lost my champion, but he's tucked over here to the side. He's almost done, but the boss is over there, so I gotta give him a little bit of space. I can pull him back to the middle here, see if I can put some work into him this way. He's almost finishable, but I can probably finish him this way. One more shot when he comes around the corner and he's toast. There we go. So he's down. Now, in this room, you're going to have a heavy frame. You're going to have the boss out there. And you're also going to have the Valkyrie. So you're going to want to try and distract the boss if you can. If you can get the heavy frame to spawn. Cool. Then my advice is just run on by, grab the Valkyrie, let those two go at each other. Now, the boss is going to have a shield on, and unless you've got arc, you can't do as much to him. So deal with the enemies up top. And then as soon as you'll notice when the boss, now that the shield is actually down, the heavy frame is going to take care of the rest. The nice thing about having this around, you can try and kill some of the ads. And that's basically it. It's actually one of the easier lost sectors, it feels like, kind of at this mid-level range. The servitors get to be really, really annoying. The unstoppables are not as bad just because they don't regenerate their health, which is kind of one of the big keys. So my advice is, you know, unstoppable, barrier, make sure you've got those. Use those heavy frames, use those Valkyries as much as possible. If you haven't unloaded those, or unlocked those yet, I should say, definitely consider doing that one. But I hope you guys found this video beneficial. Again, just trying to do a guide for each legendary lost sector. I know not everybody always has a group to run in there with, so giving you a few tips so you guys can run in by yourself and still knock this thing out. You guys can find me on Twitch and Twitter. I'm in shelter in place at this point for a couple weeks, so you'll find me streaming quite a bit. But thank you guys for the support. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, it's a great way to support me. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Thank you guys. Have a good one, and I'll see you soon.